here we are. We're at John's house.
And we don't want to forget Christian. And check out Christian's YouTube channel.
Mine's set with a 1 instead of an I. New videos coming soon. Go ahead and check that out. Alright, let's get to this though.
M1ND set, let's go.
Yeah, you got it, bro.
There's something we always do at John's house. We like to build computers here. We like using computers. I like building computers. He just likes to play video games.
Oh, that's actually a semi-over.
Buttons do 4 things. Each one.
So he's been working with an old system we built. What was that? Like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like on the AMD FX platform, which it's 2018. That's no bueno anymore. So we're gonna move him on to not the newest Intel.
Intel, yeah.
Yeah, so we learned our lesson the first time. So we're gonna jump up, do a significant upgrade from his last machine. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Now, just to clarify, because I used to sell computers, and I decided many years ago that AMD was crap. And so, is AMD still crap, or what was your reason to going to Intel this time?
So Intel, they've got a lot better with the line that we went with. Cost performance, it starts to even out. The newer AMD chips, the Ryzen, as well as Threadripper, for the Threadripper 2. I don't like Threadripper 1, but the newer lineup of AMD is starting to catch up with Intel at a significantly lower price point. If they can iron out some of the bugs that they have left, I think they'll be a viable option. But at this point, just to get the best performance, period, maybe not budget-wise, but performance, Intel is still the way to go.
All right. So, did you have any problems with your AMDs?
With my AMDs, I had a few. I've always been able to figure them out, but their overclocking software has always been kind of iffy. Their newer stuff, again, is better, but the only reason they had issues, I'm going to call them out. So we built 2 identical systems. They both had the 80 AMD FX, like 760K, I want to say. I don't remember. And mine was going strong for 3-4 years. We still have it. It's got a new video card in it now, but their processor kept throttling way down, like it was getting super hot. Like it went to 105C. No, that was when I came by and you were just playing a game. It was at 105C, which isn't a real load. We put it under a stress test and it hit like 125C. And I freaking turned the computer off immediately. We took off the CPU cooler, I cleaned it out, and I saw that when Nathan built it, so when a cooler like the cooler we've got here comes with a little tube of thermal paste, you're supposed to put about the size of a pea onto the IHS and then mount it down and it gets good coverage. He put the entire tube on the chip, which when it stacks up that much, it becomes an insulator. It still provides I don't know, there's a word there that allows the heat transference that it needs, the contact. But there was so much of it stacked up there, and all the screws weren't tight because he saw it started to gush, so he just kind of stopped. So his cooling was garbage. So I took it all out, cleaned all of that off. That was a nightmare. Put a new tiny amount of the thermal compound on, put it on there, and now it's rocking again at normal operating temperatures. But that's the only issue. Like they do run hot. So you have to make sure that when you're working on cooling, you don't make any mistakes because that's where they already suffer. So
right.
You just have to make sure that you're working there. We've got our spoils over here. Like we said, we're running an Intel chip. It's the i7-7700K. We're still sticking with the LGA 1151 socket just because the newer socket is still kind of expensive. And this is all he really needs. He wants to be able to record video at 1080p 60 frames while playing at 144. So this will do the job finally there while matched with the 1070 from Asus, the Strix one. Pascal in just as a whole doesn't really have a problem with thermals, but I have the exact same graphics card and it boosts up to about 1080 Ti levels, and it's significantly cheaper at this point. So we went with that. If it's not broken, don't fix it. We've got 8 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RAM, 2666. He's not doing anything that's going to need crazy fast memory. Speaking of crazy fast, we've got the 500 gig Samsung SSD for boot media as well as main programs. And then good old Western Digital 1 terabyte blue, just for some mass storage. So his big old Steam library, any backups of photos, videos, anything like that. Now we're taking a step over here. It's all going to be on the MSI modern B250M motherboard. It doesn't have built-in Wi-Fi, but where he puts all of his computers at is the same room they have the router in, so there's no point in going wireless there. If you don't have to go wireless, don't. It's a good fitting board, has everything that we need. It matches the color scheme fairly well. EVGA 500, I believe it's semi-modular. I don't remember when I put this together. Semi or fully modular, one of the two, just to get all those cables that we don't use out of the way. And then what we're going to do is, last time we used the Corsair H100i version 2 to cool our CPU. We're going to take a step over to the Dark Rock Pro 4. So I've heard a lot of good things about this. When I built my other high-end machine, I thought water cooling. You have to do water cooling, otherwise everything's going to get hot. You know, it's a high-end chip, it needs high-end water cooling. Based off of everything that I've seen off of these, this should perform equally as well as that all-in-one liquid cooler. So I'm very excited to take a look at what is all in this box, as well as how it performs on the i7 there. And then where everything's going, hidden under here, is the NZXT H400i. It's a Micro-ATX case. I thought we'd put everything into a little bit of a smaller chassis because their house, they've already got one computer. And then another setup that they use for just web browsing and stuff like that. And then you're going to be adding another one, and they have plans to add another one in the future. So I thought, thinking for the future, we'd stick with a smaller form factor. And that's everything that we're running on. I say we were sticking to a smaller form factor, but he decided he was going to go for a 27-inch monitor instead of the one that I had picked out for him, which is fine. It's the same monitor, VG2780 by Asus. They always make amazing products. 144 hertz, 1 millisecond response time, so you're going to get that nice clear image, no motion blur or anything like that. But other than that, I think that's about it for the parts. You got a few peripherals here. One with a Corsair insert packing label here. You know how to blur stuff out, right?
I'm not that good.
Alright. But anyways, so they put the packing label right in the middle. But we've got the Corsair Strafe. It's a nice mechanical. I believe it's got the brown switch type. Yep, Cherry MX Browns. They got that nice tactile bump while not being as loud as like reds or blues. So that's going to be nice. And then the only other thing, it's just a headset so we can hear him screaming when he loses at video games. So other than that, I think that's all we've got here. Now we're going to go ahead and start building.
All right, let's get to it.
Now this is the only thing that you actually want to keep when you get a motherboard. This can be very helpful. It differs from motherboard to motherboard, but especially when there's dual channel memory involved, you have to know which slots it's going to use. And that's really when these come in handy, as well as knowing where all of these little case connectors go. So that's really the only part of the motherboard package that you want to keep, other than the motherboard itself. Take the motherboard out of the anti-static bag. And then something that I see a lot of people do is once they get it out of the bag, they'll put it down on top of the bag. That's not something you want to do, because the inside of it is very good at keeping it out, but the outside actually grabs onto it. So you want to get rid of that bag. You don't want that anywhere near. You just want to put that directly on top of the box so you can have it elevated. Less chance of, dropping stuff. We've got our premium unboxing tool, a prepare knife. Go ahead and use that to get the chip out here. Now, as you might have noticed, some of the boxes look a little dinged up. Everything on the inside looks fine so far. If anything crazy does happen, or if anything does seem to be DOA, we'll make sure to get that taken care of. Chip out of the box here. Go ahead and plop that down here in the socket. Just like so. Give it a tiny wiggle just to make sure everything's fine. And a lot of the new ones have the extra screw there. A little cover pops off. Everybody throw these away, but in the event that you have to send your motherboard back, if you don't have this, you can't get a refund or an exchange or anything like that. So it's a good idea to keep these. The only thing that we're looking for right now is where our first channel of memory is going to be at. So DIMM sockets on page 13. After you know this, It's really not that important, but it is important for the first time. So channel A, DIMM A is on the left. So the closest one. Go ahead and put that in here. Again, another black heat spreader here, just to keep with the theme. Open the retaining brackets. Some of them have them on both sides, other only have them on one. Go ahead and put that in there. Both sides click. That's that. So next, what we'll probably do is go ahead and install the cooler. Now this is one that I'm more interested in, so we might do a little bit more of an unboxing experience kind of thing here. Darkcroft Pro 4 from Be Quiet. It's supposed to be amazing, so let's go ahead and get this out. Alright, so here we have what I assume are the fan brackets to hold on the fans, as well as a baggy/beggy. You can talk about how you discuss or how you pronounce that word in the comment section below. Now, last time we built the machine, there was a really hard time installing the I/O because they didn't have the bags labeled for which type of socket they were. So this is actually fantastic. Props to Be Quiet for doing that. That thing is absolutely massive. And then as you see, there is a cardboard box in the middle. It's because it does come with the middle fan. Now you can put, it gives you enough attachments to put another fan on the other side. That won't be necessary for us, at least right now. I think we'll have good enough time with thermals. But let's go ahead and get this all attached up here. Let's say we got the back plate and the rest of the mounting stuff finished. It's really nice. They actually have, these don't have threads, and there's a little O-ring back there. It's usually what the biggest headache of mounting a backplate is trying to hold the thing on there and make sure all the screws don't fall out while you're on this side putting your little standoffs on. With the O-ring, it makes it a lot easier by holding the screw to the backplate. So all you have to do is hold on to the backplate while you're trying to put the standoffs in. That's really nice compared to something like the Hyper 212 EVO or the AIO I used last time. So now we're going to put this onto the board itself. And what I noticed is, so the story of last time where they put the whole tube of thermal grease on there. Be Quiet makes it significantly harder for you to be dumb. In the for the Hyper 212 EVO, the whole tube was filled up and you were expected just to do it out. Even if you use the whole tube, there's not as much. So you can't put an overwhelming amount of too much on there.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead and put our dollop on there here. There we go. And all you need is a little pea in the middle of the chip. So it's starting to come out. About the size of a pea. And then when you put the chip on, you get even spread, just because of the pressure.
You mean the heatsink?
Yeah.
I don't need.
I'm going to set that down. Shouldn't have RAM clearance issues. Don't think we do. Yeah, a nice Be Quiet Phillips head screwdriver. That comes with a magnetic tip. And the top caps of these, if you took a look at it earlier, actually come off. I don't know if it'll fit through there with it on there. It doesn't look like it.
So they provide a special screwdriver just to get the job done. Isn't that polite of them?
And then it starts to go through if you get it lined up. And just get that on there to make sure this isn't going anywhere. Make sure that you get it even versus all squished out on one side. Alright. So now, let the entire thing up by the heat sink. Actually has quite a bit of weight to it now. With that humongous thing on there. So now we can put the two little caps back on the top because we're no longer installing screws, so it has its nice finished look. If I can get the dang thing on there. There it is. Now go ahead and put that middle fan back in and we'll be right back. So we got the cooler installed as well as that middle fan put back in. We did take off some of the metal finish on some of the fins, but that's fine. And now we're going to go ahead and
That's what a black Sharpie's for.
Yeah, that's actually what a lot of people use. But now we are to the point where we can put this into the case. So we're going to open up this behemoth of a box.
Okay, this is not very fulfilling. Oh, I see the red.
If you come over here, you can just feel the static from taking that out of the box. They did give you an LED strip.
Nice.
What? You got a little LED strip. Nice. It's got a fan controller.
Nice.
So you've got a built-in fan controller. Now how you control it is another question. But it looks like you have three faces. You have an exhaust fan and then the two intake fans that are on the other side. You got your two intake fans here. So on your exhaust fan. We'll open this up to see what we're going to have to tame. And then we'll go ahead. You've got these nice little Velcro straps to keep everything nice inside of their own channels even. That's really nice. It'll help us with cable management. So yeah, let's just go ahead and start getting down to the nitty gritty and getting all of this started. You've even got two SSD trays back here. So if you wanted to put a bunch of SSDs in here, you could. So we've got the case opened up on the side, everything open. We're going to slide the motherboard in. We have the I/O shield installed down here. So let's go ahead and take off this bracket. So we've got the room that we need. And this is this easy to remove. You just take out the screw. And the bottom screw over here. Set them over there, don't lose them, and then they just kind of slide out there and here. And I believe I forgot the screw on the back. There might be. Yes, the screws on the back. So don't forget those, like I did. And then you'll be able to pull this right out. So we just had a little bit of a problem. Alright, I think we got it that time.
Alright.
Okay, so now we can take a look here, see what standoffs we need to install. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, 1 there. So we need standoff in the top right corner.
Alright.
Here, 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 here. All those spots.
Yep.
Alright, so now I'll pull it out. Put a standoff in all those spots. So we got the board, the cooler, everything inside of the case now. We put it in to test fit it to see which standoffs we're going to do. And we put them all in, screwed it in now. I'm going to make Garrett over here do the rest of the case connectors, as well as start running some of the power cables. Now I'm going to be watching him, helping him out, just to make sure that it comes out looking pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and start the unboxing of the power supply. And there it is. Got our EVGA 500 bronze power supply. Now semi-modular, you just get your 4+4 pin, your 8 pin for the CPU power, another 4 pin, and the 24. So we'll go ahead and get this in there so Garrett has an idea of how much room he's got. And then we'll start mounting the rest of the hardware, graphics card, his storage, and the likes of that. Graveyard over here. So we've got a handful of the front panel connectors installed and connected at this point, USB down there, and we'll of course pull them back and tidy them up a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and start installing some of the storage here so we know just how big of a mess we can leave. So we're going to go ahead and pull out the SSD here. See, so the packaging does look a little messed up on the outside of the box, but that's fine. We should be good to go. Little thing here. SSD. It's just feels like I'm holding like maybe a handful of potato chips. It's crazy. It weighs nothing. But we'll go ahead and set that there, and we're gonna pull. These are neat. Little front display panels so that you can pull these out. You should be able to pull this tray out here. Those little springs. Take the SSD. Set it in there. And then you're going to want to find the screws. Go here on the bottom. Now, this is probably going to be case screws again. to start putting this in. One down, hit another one. Try to keep it on the tip. It's a little bit of a bigger screw or screwdriver than the screw itself going in there. I think it'll go in there, but what we might do actually is get our cables on there while it's not mounted down, just to make it easier on us.
So really, that's just for that's the 2.5 inch, huh?
Yeah.
So they don't have the old 3.5 inch at all, do they?
Well, they do. They don't have like a real caddy for it, at least in this case. So if we jump back here, what they've got for this case is it just mounts directly to the bottom here. There's screw holes for it, and they actually go through the bottom.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that it doesn't have any issues with vibration because it's on the bottom of the metal case. But Western Digital is a good brand, so they shouldn't have any issues there. That in there, because that's going to go over there. It will actually just plug the right angle into the board wherever it goes.
What are you looking for?
Looking just for a SATA connector. And I see the one there, but is there not? In my board, there's like 9. Oh, they're covered! It goes sideways.
Oh, are they? Where are they?
They're all here.
Oh,
going
okay.
in sideways.
Oh, okay.
That's not how my board was. One of them is specifically for boot, and it can mess stuff up if you don't make sure you're using the right one. Alright, so it doesn't say that any of it matters. It says, the only thing that matters says if you have a M.2 installed, which we don't, that SATA 1 will be unavailable because they share bandwidth. We can plug in another 5 fans.
And there's not enough room for 5 fans, right? I mean,
You can fit 1, 2, 3. Me and Garrett were just trying to decide where we're going to put this. And I was like,
is that an LED strip?
yeah, and I was like, you want to put it on the top? And I went down here to look, and there's already one there.
Oh.
So, well, that's all right. We have one more SATA connector to plug in. So we've got this plug-in for the controller. So we've got the back panel. We installed all the cable management done. Front end of the case, something like that. And now, so we've got this strung all the way out because we've still got this to install. Now someone might look at that and say, the box is just as long as the case, and say there's a problem. Well, I say, hush, we're about to find out. We might, and that's like emphasis on the might, be able to use PCI bracket 1, the reinforced one. That's going to be cutting it close with the Dark Rock Pro though. So we'll try to install it there. This is a dual slot card, so we'll have to remove 2 expansion slots. So let's see if we can get this in the first slot. Oh, look at the clearance.
Barely.
We actually have to twist it sideways to get it past the bracket. I have never seen something fit so much like a glove. I don't think I unlocked the PCI bracket. So to get it in, so if you're just going down, yeah, you hit the side of the case over here on the left. Focus it on the left with some light, please. So you have to tilt it sideways just to get past the back of the case so that when you get back to the expansion bracket, you actually get down in it. Holy crap. Alright, so now, it's alright. So now, oh man, that's getting heavier. So let's take a look at the amount of sag here before we do anything else. Does that look pretty straight? Come down here. It looks pretty. Yeah, there's definitely sag there.
Yeah, I
It needs to
see
be up here. So there's a video about something you can do on the back here. I'm gonna have to look it back up by Jay and see what it is. I think it was like a standoff screw he put in there, and it eliminated a lot of it. We'll see how it looks. So let's run some power here, shove this back into the basement, and we'll be right back. It's a VG278Q gaming monitor, 144 Hz, 1 millisecond response time, extreme low motion blur. Game fast,
Now, I'm
flicker
hoping-
free, and ultra low blue light.
Sorry.
They have to give you some stupid proprietary power brick. And so another key point is that 144 hertz. Now it might be able to do that over HDMI. I don't know if it's 2.0 or not, but we're going to use DisplayPort because I know for a fact that it does.
On the Asus monitor.
Oh, see.
All right.
You just
So now we're going to see if this thing turns on. Make sure the power supply is on, which it is. I'll let Garrett press the button. Wait, make it like super dramatic, like doo 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 doo. Hold on, real music.
yo.
Well, it's got power. I don't hear any noises though. Well, we don't have speakers hooked up, do we?
Setup is starting. It did not give me an option to select the disk yet, so we don't have a product key yet. So we're gonna click on I don't have a product key. We're at 99% on getting files ready for installation. The installing features, updates, and finishing up should go really quick. See, features is literally already done. And then we wanna. All right, so things. First off, we're gonna do this really quick. Get nice and close.
It's like a snake sitting its skin.
Oh. So we figured out that you can control the LED with software.
You can?
Nice. Yeah.
Look at that fan, it's barely moving.
Yep. That's moving at like 400 RPM. We're just gonna let that go for a few minutes and see kind of where it goes with temperatures, and if our turbo clock ever comes down from 4.4. So we'll let that run for a few minutes, see where our temps go.
Now, when can you see all 4 cores, or just how do you do that?
So this is overall utilization. We can change the graph to logical processors, and we'll see all 8 cores of them.
All 8 cores.
So yeah, this is an 8-core CPU. It comes out of the box 4.2 gigahertz. That's the base speed, but we're turboing up to 4.4, which is actually pretty nice. We'll go in there and we'll set it to sync all the cores and whatnot.
So now it's really 4-core with hyper-threading.
Correct.
Do they still call it hyper-threading?
Yeah, so
Okay.
AMD call it virtualization or multi-core enhanced. I don't know. They just make up a different word for it, but it is hyper-threading. So we'll give that a second. It looks like it's an air cooler is like if you're using a water cooler, you have to wait for the water to reach an equilibrium, whatever. But with an air cooler, it doesn't take that long. So it looks like it's already kind of stabilized. And so what we'll do is if we stop the test, it'll...
Like he probably has an audio one on his.
So this is all stock settings just showing up so we can see what our score is. Go ahead and hit go. Let this start here. So it's the first time it's ever done anything and it's got slammed. This is this is Valley. I always did the other one. I've never done this one. It's pretty.
There we go.
Let's give that a
Now
sec.
this is with everything on?
Yeah, this is everything maxed out. So we'll double check the
Wow,
quality
it's
settings.
smooth.
Yep, so high, 1920 by 1080, 8x anti-aliasing, motion blur is on. So let's go ahead and run the benchmark with F9.
Alright guys, you're all done. You did it.
Yeah.
This is your first build, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Alright.
How was it?
It was fun.
Yeah.
I think his attention span is
going
like
to
peaked at this point.
It's
though, right?
shorter. Say, so far the builds we've done have been difficult, but for different reasons. Being too careful with stuff, being all freaked out
Well,
about
that was
trying to
that
break
water-
a component. And that stupid water cooler, not leaving that bag hurt. So, everything's good.
Alright.
That's what it looks like inside. The LED went back to white for some reason, but it's usually orange.
Alright, cool.
And that's what it looks like.